Everyone, welcome. My name is Abby Honaker, your longevity strategist, and I am here to talk about the patient experience and the new revenue strategy, right? So how do the best clinics, concierge medicine, functional wellness, integrative practices, med spas turn the experience, the consultation into a lifetime value of reoccurring revenue, right? Loyalty. Most think it's a lead generation problem, and most have an patient experience problem, right? And let's just be honest, because if you aren't intentional about what that looks like from the time the patient walks into your clinic until they leave, then you have a problem. So we are going to speak today and really determine what is the process when a patient walks through the door. They've seen your ads, they've seen your social media, they've seen your marketing, but they leave confused, disconnected, overwhelmed. All right, this is not a marketing failure, this is an operational failure. And I really want to drive home some missed opportunity that I see in aesthetics and wellness concierge practices. It's maximizing the value and every touch point with the client along the patient journey. So the patient experience is not just fluff and candles and smell, right? Those are all really nice. We have a clean facility, great. But those are just touch points for the beginning. It's just the foundation. So it's not just one thing or the other. It's the entire patient strategy, right? And it's a revenue strategy, because this is what practices that are winning are doing right now. They've figured out how to create these systems that make the patient feel seen, guided, educated, cared for, confident, guys, confident enough to continue to say yes, because loyalty is built where? Loyalty is built on long time connection, but it's also built way before the checkout. Okay, so let's talk about this. What really is the patient experience? They automatically think hospitality, right? When people hear that word, patient experience, but really elite patient experiences are actually an operational alignment, right? What happens here? What's next? It feels very created. It feels like every touch point in your business feels intentional, right? I'm using that word a lot, intentional, right? We micromanage systems, not people. All right. From the first phone call, text, the consultation, the intake process, the provider communication, your treatment plan presentation, your treatment plan formula, your financing options, your memberships, right? Your checkout process, the follow-up, the rebooking, all of it. All of it is included in this patient experience, and it should have a specific place that these things happen. It should have a specific feel. Your service vision statement, right? How do you want your client to feel every time they leave your clinic? If you're a cash-based business, if you're concierge, if you're relying on that patient, that client taking their money, their hard-earned income, and giving it to you, you have to create the experience, and you have to meet them where they are and give them every opportunity and pathway to succeed. So all of it. There's not one point that you can just hope your providers or team members do well or hope the patient experiences, but we really want something that creates compliance, right? That then creates results. Results create retention. Retention creates value, lifetime value, LTV of the client, and that's the whole game. So you can run ads all day long, and you can get people booked for appointments, and you can just hope and tell your providers, sell more, get more memberships, get people back in the door. Why is your schedule empty? But if your systems aren't designed to support that continuation of all of those touch points, you're building a revolving door. Okay. So the real problem might not be your providers. It might not be the fact that they can't sell, right? These are all issues. Don't get me wrong. Your team members don't offer retail. We're not building in rebooking. We're not offering packages and pathways and financing options. So the real problem is that we're winging it. We're ultimately winging it, right? The consultation experience is completely dependent on personality of a provider. And that's the one thing that I drive home with any new practice, clinic, partner, business, entity, industry leader that we work with, is that you have to be intentional and you have to keep it similar, like-minded across every single touch point. It has to be universal. Does that mean that your provider has to act like this provider and that provider has to? No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that one injector says one thing and another says something completely different. Your front desk coordinator is discussing memberships confidently and another avoids the conversation. I'm just not going to mention it because I don't really understand it. Let's be honest. So the patient experience becomes inconsistent. Inconsistency is a revenue killer. Okay, the patient experience has to be universal across all touch points. So again, I say we micromanage systems, not people, right? We want to make sure that your team feels empowered. You have to educate, you have to train, you have to make sure that everyone understands the mission. Like I said, all the wheels on the automobile are going in the same direction. So we have our providers, we have coordinators, we have managers, we have our patient care team. We're all communicating differently. We're missing opportunity at every visit, every appointment. So it's a brand experience. And you have to have the solid brand experience created so that every patient or client has an individual experience in your practice. So these individual experiences create scalability, but when your team members are having their own experiences and their own practices and their own pathways and the way they do it, that's where we see a lot of revenue leakage, right? And it's not always bad marketing. Listen, there's bad marketing out there, right? I know some great marketing companies, but there are some bad marketing companies, and that is a valid complaint. But most practices lose money on their consultation framework. Have you built out the expectation of every new client consultation? Have you looked at the roadmap and the pathways, whether it's financing, packages, membership, discounts for first-time clients, right? Is there a care plan vision, a treatment plan vision, meaning here's the pathway we would like every new patient to come? Financing decisions. Are you meeting them where they are so that you can offer those low monthly payments? Is there a membership integration that is seamless, right? We're going to speak more to that in a minute, but this is really important. If you're selling your memberships, then you've got a membership problem, okay? You've got to have the continuity planning, the rebooking process. You've got to have scripting. You've got to have education training, and you've got to have an amazing follow-up strategy. So what happens? Right? A patient comes in for talks, let's use this as an example, and gets a one-time, 20 units, leaves with no understanding of like what comes next, how to maintain results, what are the complementary services, right? That ultimately get us to where they want to go. What are the results that they want, right? How do they actually achieve the outcomes? The results, the desired results. That's why we're there, right? And practitioners wonder why their patients just disappear or don't rebook or cancel and don't come back. There is no roadmap. There is no journey. And the patient journey, the patient experience, whatever you want to call it, it's the same. And I just launched a new wellness practice in New York and really excited about it. But what I love about this practitioner is that she's dedicated to a comprehensive analysis as a new patient, a new client into her clinic. So everyone is getting everything regardless of while you're coming in, right? There's going to be those one-offs and those treatments that, yes, absolutely do not require that. But the majority of everything that she does stems from that first new client consultation. And she's so intentional. There's that word again. She's so micromanaged how this is going to look and then what the handoff is and who comes next that, every patient is going to experience that feeling that she wants to feel, that no stone is left unturned, and they've been giving every opportunity to achieve the results that they desire. So do you see how that could drive revenue, right? You start with the vision, not the service, right? This isn't about, why they came in, right? So they came in for a reason, and we want to do discovery, and we want to understand that, whether it's from our concierge team, whether it's from our provider team, whatever that looks like, we want to understand it. But where are we going together over the next 6 to 12 months? Where are we starting, and what's that transformation roadmap, and how do we make our memberships a no-brainer, right? Patients don't have to buy syringes. They buy outcomes. They buy confidence. And then of course, now we have alignment with like what we're able to offer and what their expectations are. So instead of saying, what are you doing today? We shift it to telling them where they want to be and how they get there. So having truly educated providers that truly understand our protocols is vital and key. because we have to put together our pathways, our treatment plans, our care plans, whatever you call them. So every patient and every provider should understand, what is the patient journey? What is the sequencing, right? What is the protocol stacking? How are we going to maintain these results? What are the complementary service? What are realistic expectations? What are timelines, right? Patients need clarity. Clarity drives revenue because they understand, oh, okay, wait, this makes sense to me, and this is exactly what I want. All right. So that's why SOPs, scripting, training, non-negotiables, they matter. All right. All right. We want excellence. We want excellence. So we have to create a seamless experience. When it feels easy, when it's not confusion, not transactional, not chaotic, right? It's crystal clear how I get there. And now I get to make the decision of which pathway I go because I've been educated. I've been given all the things that make sense to me. I've been able to communicate my questions and my feelings. I've been able to understand that however I come to you, whether it's client A, B, or C with my finances, right? That I can get into low monthly payments. I could pay up front for a bigger discount. I could get the additional treatments I want by getting in the membership and saving money, right? Everything is aligned. So that smooth experience just feels like home. It feels safe. Like one of my clients, I asked her, I was like, what is your service vision statement? Not your provider vision statement, your service vision statement. And she was like, I want it to feel like home. I want it to feel safe. I want to educate. I want the smell. I want the air. She's put so much thought into what that looks like that people are going to drive all the way across town to come to her, right? Because we know we're going to give them the results, but now they want that feeling, right? Others are, the client always leaves better. There's so many ways you can weave that intention into the every touch point. And how do you really do that? So patients that trust you buy, okay? They purchase. And we've given them that. So really the question here, and this is a good checkpoint for you on your patient experience, because do you have to sell your memberships? Do you feel like it's not just a natural next step? All right, that could be two things, right? You could have a membership creation problem, a membership problem, or you can have a patient experience problem. Because this is where practices really get it wrong. If you're too aggressive to sell the membership, you already missed the opportunity. Memberships are not throwing the entire kitchen sink in every package so that they can get all of these treatments. It's really supporting your patient journey. It should feel like a courtesy to them. It should feel like a support system, like a smart pathway. This isn't just please buy this membership or, hey, this is the easiest way, most cost effective it's got to be the easiest, most cost effective way to track and maintain your results. That's a completely different conversation than, oh, have you heard about our membership? The membership isn't a product, it's an outcome. It's a support system. It's a tool to create consistency. And so as you're building out your treatment plans and you've already prepared your patient, and now we truly understand where we're going and given them the roadmap, and we've talked about all of the different ways we can meet them at whatever place they are with their financing, we say, however, this membership could support you this way. And then you talk about the girl math, you talk about the added value, you talk about the maintenance and the plateau timelines so that they're always getting consistency and elevation of their results. So if you are having to explain the membership, for example, let me just tell you this. So I wanted to go in and I try to get an IV, as much as possible when I can get away from my desk or my clients or calls. And I went in and I was like, hey, my functional provider is recommending these IVs for me over the next 3 months. So is there here's what I need to start with. And so, like this, my nurse was like, excellent. This is a great opportunity. Here's what that could look like. If you want to buy the package of 6, you could go ahead and pre-purchase that and save money. However, because you're going to be consistent for 3 months, I recommend that you just get in our membership because you get all of these additional treatments. You're going to get discounts on anything else you purchase. And now the membership basically pays for itself because you're going to buy these IVs anyway. It was like a no-brainer for me. It was of course I'm going to do that, right? So at the end of the day, I joined the membership. I never joined a membership. I can't join a membership anywhere. I work too hard. I've got 4 kids at home, right? Like there's a lot of things that happen. And so ultimately it needed to be part of my pathway as another touch point, as another roadmap to how I can get everything that I want and has been recommended for me without cutting into my budget, or it made sense. So we've got to stop selling on that price, right? Oh, well, we could do this. How much are you looking to spend, right? With that patient journey, that consultation is such a huge piece of it, and we need to make sure that we're micromanaging it, giving the provider the opportunity to create the art that they need, and to also, really dive deep into a comprehensive analysis of how to get the patient to that timeline, the expectation that they truly need. So if you are creating hesitancy and the patient's confidence is fading and the financing conversation never happens, you're not really enhancing that experience, right? So we shouldn't be asking someone to spend money. We should be helping them access their care plan. So handoffs in each of these touch points of the patient journey really matter, right? The patient experience needs no mistakes. It can't have disconnected transition. The provider finishes the treatment, the patient walks to checkout, the front desk has no idea what's happening. Okay. How do we take pictures? How do we check people in? How do we speak to them? What is the scripting that's required, right? The patient experience breaks immediately when there's not a smooth transition from lead to appointment to intake to consultation to service to opportunity to checkout to rebooking, all of it. Right? We have to understand and we have to be able to know what the other hand is doing. We need to know that handoff comes with information, and we create the systems and efficiency to make sure that every one of those is seamless, because again, trust creates retention. So with team alignment, you're going to see more and more and more that the marketing team cannot drive your revenue only. The providers have to communicate differently. Okay. And so everyone must understand the service vision statement, the patient journey, the consultation framework, treatment philosophy, memberships, right? Opportunities, financing options, and what are the communication standards? Because consistency is going to drive that, and that's going to help you to scale. And here's some things, guys. Like I've said a lot, and this isn't something that is easy, right? This is something that is normally a 30, 60-day timeline to really implement and clean up for most of my practices. But a few quick wins that I could give you that you could implement right away is create your consultation template, okay? For each provider, like some different, like we may have a wellness template and we may have an aesthetic one. It depends on what the expectation is for every new client consultation, and every time when we're wrapping up a roadmap, what comes next. You want to make sure you build in those treatment pathways instead of one-off services. So if you find yourself selling packages like it's 2015, we really need to build out our programs, our combo treatments, whatever you like to call them, to really piggyback off of each treatment, because that's where we're really going to see the most, right? We want to also introduce our good, better, best treatment planning. All right. We always start with the best, move to the better, go to the good. Normalize the financing conversations. Do you have ATRI, right? Are you giving the patients multiple opportunities to have low monthly payments? Do your providers understand it? Do they know how to use the calculator? Do they know how to speak in terms of what I've seen as low? They need to be, that needs to be scripted and rehearsed. We need to make the memberships part of our continuity plan, our roadmap, how we move forward, right? They should not be hard to sell. They should be a no-brainer. Require rebooking before checkout. I always do this. We rebook the patient before you check them out. Do not check them out and then ask for rebooking. Big red flag. Easy change right there. Audit every patient touch point from inquiry to follow-up. Make sure that you're auditing those new patients. You're looking, did they get checked in? Did they get signed up for the rewards? Did they get into a membership? What does their treatment plan look like? What do the treatment notes look like? Did they purchase anything? Did they purchase a program, get in a membership? Did they add retail? What does that look like? Make sure that you're auditing it every month to see which providers, where the breakdown is, so that you can do training. That's a really easy one that your managers can pull every month from you. And make sure you're having weekly communication on the patient experience. Make sure you're looking at where you're winning and where you're losing, and everybody is touching on that, whether it's at your daily huddle, a weekly chat, or maybe it's even in your monthly team meetings that we come give results, because systems create confidence, not only in your patients, but in your providers, okay? So we don't want to have one superstar employee. We want to have all of our employees be superstars. So essentially, that's the truth. Practices that I see implement a strong patient experience dominate. Over the next 5 years, it was going to be one of the biggest things that you're going to be able to add, that human concierge patient experience that's above and beyond, right? We need to have our tech stack and we need to have all of those tools in the belt. And those are all things that get added along the journey to make it more efficient and effective. But really understanding the journey to make the patient feel understood, guided, cared for, educated, and supported, right? They'll stay. They'll rebook. They'll book in advance 3 treatments, right? Like let's build out the urgency to make sure that we keep that plateau timeline. That way the retention is real, right? So you're not going to build $1 million practices at one appointment. You're going to build them through continuity. So stop asking. We just need more leads. Where are our leads? And start asking, how can we serve better our patients that we already have? And then even after they check out and leave, our follow-up, our targeted patient outreach is part of that journey, to make sure that we're meeting them where they are and nurturing them so that they're consistent to get the results that they desire and that we've promised them. Because, when your patient experience is built correctly, revenue becomes a byproduct. It really does. It's just a side effect. That's what I always like to say. When you build these systems, revenue becomes a side effect. Great culture or side effect. Great culture becomes a side effect. These are all things that we all strive for, but if we try to force them into a mess, right, into garbage, it's going to be garbage out, and we're really going to struggle to be and scale and grow the way that we want, or even target the patients that we're really trying to reach. So remember, your patient experience is where that true scalability and revenue lives. And there's a lot of revenue in there. Thank you so much. If you liked my videos, you can check me out on Instagram, Abby_Honaker. You can also hit me up on my YouTube channel. You'll be able to scan the QR code to learn more. Please like and follow. Share this video with someone that could utilize it, and would love to meet with you, book a strategy session with me so we can dive deeper into your patient experience and how it can drive more revenue. Thank you.